is it?
What's going on, guys? We're back just to hang out, disseminate a little information. Today, we're going to talk about how miners are priced, and it's mildly specific to our website or our prices, but I mean mostly specific to the market in general and how things just constantly change. I mean, it's directly tied to the volatility of the market. So we're going to try and introduce a little bit of that material to you today and maybe elaborate a little bit because we get a lot of questions on it. So,
yeah, just wanted to apologize too. We've been kind of gone for the last 2 weeks. I've been pretty busy, setting up a farm, and that's been going really well. So if you're looking to host, we'll be up in a few months. But and then we've just had a lot of document stuff we've been going through. So priorities, I guess. This is a great priority, but it had to get some stuff done. But glad to be back.
Good to be back. Feels good. Good problems to have. Good busy problems to have. So jumping right in, talking about how miners are priced, and obviously when you're ordering directly from Bitmain, it's a little bit different than if you were ordering from a third-party supplier such as ourselves or individual off Alibaba or another third-party supplier such as a distributor in the United States. And the real big determinant of what's going to make miners the price that they are is the price of the coin that they mine. Now, the S19 is always a good prime example. And when you're talking about Bitcoin, you're talking about a pretty volatile asset. And obviously, there's assets or coins out there that are a lot more volatile. Recently, what we've seen with Kadena is insane. We can track back to that one later. But Bitcoin, commonly when you see a 3% increase in coin price, you're probably going to see a marginal increase in miner price. And that's determined by the market in China, not necessarily Bitmain, the supplier, as much as the brokers in China. And they coordinate very, very well. They all seem to keep their prices relatively the same. There's a lot out there that are quite a bit more, but you're not going to find someone that's significantly lower without starting to second guess their prices, because as soon as you do think you found that good deal, all of a sudden you're second guessing on whether this guy's legitimate. And that's the issue, is like, oh my gosh, I found this great price. And all of a sudden you're about to send 10 grand across the world and you're rethinking the whole great price thing. And then also rethinking, man, maybe I should pay 3 more grand or 5 more grand or whatever it is, just so that you know that there's legitimacy there. So I know that we've elaborated, and I can re-illustrate the fact that on those 3% price or 3% increases of BTC and that miner increase or that miner price increase, you'll see a little bit of a correlation there on the upswing, but not necessarily the same correlation on the downswing, or the same, referred to it as the economy of scale, meaning if it decreases 3%, you're not necessarily going to see that decrease in miner price. And
Right.
if it decreases 6%, you may see an approximate 3% or 2% decrease in miner price. It's not until you see that 10% drop in BTC that you're going to see that 3-4% Bitcoin miner price drop. And it's not going to catch up to a 10% drop until BTC sits at below that at that 10% drop for approximately a week, or at least a few days, to kind of verify that it's not going back up. Because these Chinese miners, they wait, they know it's so volatile, it can go down 6% in one day and then recover in 2 or 3 days and come back, and they know that they can just keep making money.
Yeah, people are still going to buy them. They're not really worried about dropping the price if it's only temporary. People are still going to pay that premium to get their machines. But a main thing that I think they go off of is kind of that ROI, return on your investment. You see these coins pop up like Kadena, go up 50% in 24 hours. Like there's a machine that, I mean, a month ago was $7,000, right?
KD5, right? Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
KD5, 7,
Yep.
8, and now it's 39,000
Used.
or like used.
Brand
That's,
new, brand new. What are we looking at? Like 40, 50K? Like it's insane.
yeah. And that's just because its ROI is 9, they try and keep it consistent. Those machines, they don't cost 40,000 to make, maybe 2, maybe, I don't know, something like that. But I think that's a big factor. So if you're seeing these prices fluctuate so much and you're like, hey, why can't you keep a constant, price? And it's because these suppliers, they go off of kind of that ROI as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, I mean, there's a few things to consider. And I mean, the biggest one is always just watching that coin price. So if you're looking at a machine, just watch BTC or watch the market, right? Watch the coin that miner is mining is really what it comes down to. So you keep freezing on my end. I'm not sure if it's my internet or if it's your internet.
Really?
Yeah, you keep kind of like,
Cutting in and out or what?
yeah.
Like, am I still doing it?
I mean, you're okay now, but it keeps glitching. Like I can hear you the whole time, but I can't.
But my video glitches?
Video stops. You just freeze.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, like they're like it's just kind of glitchy. I don't know.
Hmm.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Can't really
Yeah, I
fix it
can't
right
really
now,
do
I
anything
guess.
about it right now. So we
Yeah.
apologize for the
Yeah.
video
If you
glitches.
get a funny face, just don't screenshot it and post it.
Either way.
You can. Just tag us.
Oh yeah, there you go. So the second point we wanted to bring up was um, how often prices are updated. So when you see those prices, that market price increase. So if BTC again pushes 3%, you're going to probably see a price update from the Chinese market approximately, and we're Central Time, so approximately 10 p.m. Central is around that 8:30, 9 o'clock a.m. The following day in China already. So they're basically waking up for their workday, getting ready to go when we're going to sleep, and that's when their kind of market price update kicks in, at least for our suppliers. And so because of that, that's when we see that price come out, and it's good for approximately 24 hours. And normally, some suppliers will say 12, some suppliers will say 24. But if BTC sits or doesn't really move, then you're good to go. But if it's pumping like it is right now, it's up 4% or it's up 5%, and so now we have to wait tonight to make sure that our prices are good, to make sure that we didn't lose any money on our end, because that's something that's happened to us before, where we'll guarantee a price and we'll get basically screwed because they come back and tell us that they won't accept that. They just won't do it. And we have no control over that. It's very, very
Yeah.
frustrating.
And it's like a 12-hour difference. Say we get the price update in the morning, somebody orders at night, and we're like, hey, we got this order. And like, actually, it's this much now. We're like, really?
Yeah. And then we get
That
to
is not great.
and then our clients are like, no. Like, we've gotten some pretty frustrated people, some pretty
Oh,
upset people, things that are out of our control. We can't control it, right?
right. Yeah, and it's like we're just relaying the information, we're doing our best to kind of keep updated, but you just kind of got to understand that a lot of it has to do with the market and the suppliers or the brokers over in China.
And we're not, it's not like we're here to defend our prices. Like we're trying to
Right.
explain how this process works. And there's a lot of guys out there that just have such large margins that they don't have to worry about it, right? Like if the prices don't change, they're gonna make 3 grand or 4 grand on a machine, and then if they do change, that margin goes down to 2,500 or 2 grand, and they're like, oh, I still made 2 grand. We don't do that, right? We're not margining our machines that high, and because we
Yeah.
don't believe in them. Like that's not fair. That's not ethical. So regardless, we're making this too much about us, right? We're just trying to mention. So bear with us here. Um, I guess the third point that I wanted to bring up, or uh, Chris and I wanted to mention was shipping. Shipping is a big one. Um, Shipping is something that is pretty dang expensive. We're seeing about $250 per machine on again, on an S19, and that doesn't really change on an L3 Plus or an S9. Maybe it goes down to 180, 190, but you're still not going to get good prices on shipping. It's just not happening. The shippers that are commonly used that we use are UPS and DHL. We've seen a mess, an absolute mess sometimes when we get large orders. We had a client order a lot of units, and the units went from Cincinnati, where they were supposed to be delivered in Minnesota. They were coming in on into Cincinnati through, they cleared customs, and 10 of them went to Minnesota, got delivered. Another 5 of them stayed in Cincinnati, and the other 5 went to Minnesota and then got sent to LA, and then from LA got sent back to Minnesota. The other 5 that were still in Cincinnati, 4 of which went to Minnesota, got delivered. One of them stayed in Cincinnati for a couple days longer. I just
What?
it's just very, very crazy, and so we don't have much control over that. Once DHL has those packages coming overseas directly from the factory, directly from Bitmain, I mean, we're just kind of subject to their way of work, really. And
Right.
UPS is fine; it just takes longer.
Yeah. And I mean, DHL's struggling right now. That's what it seems like. Like the last few weeks to a month have been tough for them. They're just backed up, and I don't know. They're just backed up, and it's been
No,
it's been
yeah,
tough to stay with our timeline of shipment. We're saying 7 to 14 days, and it's getting really close to those 14 days now on some of them. The older machines take longer. The newer machines not as long, but uh, yeah, it's been kind of a headache, that's for sure.
in honor of the shipping process that I just elaborated with that whole mess. I have this nice "this is fine" background today because, you are subject, like, you're just sitting there and I'm having coffee in the morning, and, I'm just like, "This is fine," but the room's on fire. Because you have no control over it.
What do you do?
So you roll with it, right? I mean, you grin and bear it, and you understand the process, and so I guess the next point that we were gonna mention was, import tax. That's another one, right? You see 25% on Bitmain's website. There are plenty of companies out there that have, no problem declaring low value. That's a absolute risk. There's just no question. You can
Yeah.
declare low value and UPS loses your shipment, or DHL loses one of your units. What happens? Who's liable? Not the seller.
Right.
The Chinese sellers aren't gonna just be like, "Oh, yeah, here, we'll send you another one." That
Our
doesn't
mistake.
not gonna happen, right? And
No.
and so, you just have to be careful, and, you order from a reliable company that is willing to back their product, and that's the way it has to go. That's what from a third party's kind of job. That's what they're supposed to do, right? Is back their product. So, yeah, I mean, it's if you want to pay the tariff, then it's pretty tough. There's no.
Yeah. Then you can insure it at least. I mean, that's the benefit of paying that extra 25%, especially if you're doing a large order. Like, I don't know. Well, there's companies that, I mean, they'll ship in a whole container,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And they'll insure that if like they get stopped, they'll pay for everything.
Right.
So I mean, that's,
We don't have the
I don't know.
capital to do that. We can't do
Right. Yeah, we can't do
that.
that.
But
But
we'll
you
honor our
know,
products.
yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, shipping and import, they add quite a bit, definitely. Um, those aren't fun to deal with.
Talking
Yeah,
about
I'm talking about sales tax, actually. Yeah, it's different in every state. So if you have, I mean, if you're neighboring a state with really low sales tax and you know somebody over there, ship it to them, go pick it up. If it's a large order, if it's worth it, because otherwise you're paying an extra 2.5% at least,
That's true.
just a tip.
That's a good tip. I'm just quick Google search. Alaska, Delaware, Montana, New Hampshire, and Oregon have no state sales tax.
Oh yeah, ship to Montana.
Yeah, Montana. I don't know why Montana, besides all any of the other four that we just mentioned, but
Yeah, it's close.
and then, I mean, you just be respectful or mindful of that, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're on exchanges, Kraken, Coinbase, Voyager, any of them, you're going to get charged different amounts of money to exchange currencies from one to the other, convert them, buy them, sell them. These exchanges have to make their money. We use Kraken Pro, or not Kraken Pro. Yeah, Kraken. Is it Kraken Pro? I just know it's Kraken Business. We have a Kraken Business account, which is great because their customer service is awesome. Like, they must be one customer service agent for every client that uses their. And I have not heard the same thing with Coinbase. I've not heard the same thing about any other exchange, but it's not saying that the other ones don't have, just as good of customer service. We just had a really good experience with Kraken. So it's definitely helpful on that end, but they will collect their sum when you convert that money. So keep an eye out for those transaction fees when you're paying with USDT or when you're paying with ETH or any kind of crypto.
Yeah, that's not I mean, US or going crypto like USDT is probably the best for, paying and like getting the money to the suppliers and the brokers, because I mean, the transactions are very minimal when you pay in one coin. If you're converting, that's where the fees start to add up. Like, we converted 20,000 ETH to USDT and lost like $500 on that transaction. So I mean, it's not a lot, but it's 2.5% about, right? Yeah, about that. So
they have the rates listed on each exchange. You can see
okay.
exactly what the rates are, right? And
Yeah.
it has tiers. And just keep an eye out, I guess.
So yeah, I mean, if you're paying us in a different coin and we need to transfer it to USDT, that's where kind of we kind of have to mark it up a little bit to cover that transaction fee. And that's probably our least expensive fees. When we're talking PayPal, Shopify, they take a lot. I'm not gonna lie. PayPal takes like 4% of the entire transaction, and then Shopify takes another 1%. So you're looking at, if you were to pay wire transfer or just USDT, you would save 5% on any purchase you made, for the most part. Depends on who you're going through, but like, we just have on our website, if you were to check it out, the reason it's kind of high is because of, well, maybe it's not that high. Our margins aren't that great, but it's just something to be aware of, definitely.
I wish we could just, have our margins be 4% and then not have to pay any out, not charge anything above that, but it's not the way it is.
Yeah, because we also have sales tax included, in the purchase, so that
Everybody's
adds
got to get
5 to 7.5%.
Exchange has to get their cut. Website has, the website providers have to get their cut. The government has to get their cut at the state level and at the federal level. I mean, everybody's got to get their cut, man. Everybody wants everybody's money. It's crazy. It's just crazy. So anyways, I mean, I think that's about it from my perspective. What do you got anything else you wanted to mention?
Not specifically. I think we covered every. Oh, I guess manufacturing. If they're pumping out machines and they don't have supplies, they're gonna mark up their prices. Or if they're running, kind of running out, that's another thing to kind of look out for. But you're not going to see that very much,
right?
But yeah, that's it for today, I believe.
Right on, man. That's what's up. Anything else? We will add it. Enjoy your day, guys and gals.
Yeah, if you have any questions or have if you want to hear anything on our next podcast, or just reach out, give us a call. We're always available. So, and if we're not, we'll make time. So, yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, guys.